For nearly a decade, the City of Nelson has been delivering an energy retrofits program with low interest financing. The program encourages homeowners to reduce energy consumption and greenhouse gas emissions by retrofitting their homes to become more energy efficient. And doing so not only helps residents save money on their energy bills, but improves the quality of their home by improving the comfort, and it also contributes to a local economy by generating demand for home energy upgrades. The success and program benefits of the Nelson EcoSave program were recognized regionally, and in 2019, the Regional District of Central Kootenay, or RDCK, was successful in securing funding to partner with the City of Nelson to expand the program to residents throughout the whole region. The funding was through the FCM Municipalities for Climate Innovation Program, and the program was renamed the Regional Energy Efficiency Program. Nelson's located in the southeast of British Columbia, and the surrounding region of the RDCK covers 11 electoral areas, 9 municipalities, and it services a population of over 60,000, 10,000 of whom reside in Nelson. So why did the city initiate a local financing program for home energy upgrades? In 2012, the City of Nelson's mayor and council supported the program to be implemented as a strategy within the Path to 2040 Sustainability Plan, more specifically the Community Energy and Emissions Plan. Shown here is our mayor, John Dooley, signing up, and the photo beside him are the residents who were the very first ones to participate. Since then, many city officials have participated and continue to support the initiative. The program started out as a pilot in 2012 and 2013, with the goal of having 200 residents sign up over a 2-year period. The community response exceeded our expectations. We hit our target within the first 3 months, and it well surpassed that target in the 2 years. Due to this success, the program moved from pilot phase into a permanent program, and then in 2019, we expanded into the region. The goal was to register 3% of the population, or 770 residents, by the end of 2020. How does the program work, and what makes the program unique? One of the things that makes the program unique is how we offer a full service program. This supports homeowners from start to finish. Once a resident registers, they receive a welcome into the program outlining what they can expect along with next steps. By signing up, residents gain access to an Energy Guide home evaluation to learn what improvements they can make to their homes. The evaluation is scheduled, and we provide them with rebate information, a local contractor list, and information on when a permit is required. The program has 3 main elements. On the participant side of things, this includes the Energy Guide evaluations, program support, and low interest financing, and I'll walk through each of these elements in more detail. After the energy evaluation, the energy advisor informs the homeowner which upgrades will save them the most money, and a member of our team follows up with the homeowner to ensure that they understand what is being recommended. Eligible upgrades include insulation, space and water heating, windows and doors, draft proofing, and some water efficient measures. At this stage, the homeowner is encouraged to follow through with these recommendations and are offered as much assistance as needed. Once the upgrades are complete, a post-energy evaluation is scheduled and the homeowner applies for the rebates. One of the most complex parts of the program is understanding the criteria for accessing rebates and grants. There's a wide range of available rebates and grants offered through NRCan, Clean BC, and the electric and gas utilities here in BC. The eligibility requirements and deadlines for rebates are often changing, so a key aspect of our program is our team keeping up to date on this information so that we can guide homeowners through the process. In addition to customized support provided for each resident, our program is aligned with free training courses that are available to residents and contractors throughout the program, and this is through RDCK's Built Better Builder Training Program, which is supported by FortisBC, our local gas and electric utility provider for most of the region. We also plan events such as heat pump information sessions and green trade shows. The other unique feature of this program is the option to use low interest financing available to all participants in the program. There are 2 options for financing: OnBill Financing and financing through the local credit unions. OnBill Financing is offered through our local hydroelectric utility, Nelson Hydro, shown here. This financing is available to residents who live in Nelson. These loans are repaid using Nelson's electric bills, and residents can borrow up to $16,000 and repay it over a 5 or 10-year period with low interest, and the balance can be paid off at any time with no penalty. Approval for these loans is based on good account standing and property ownership and does not consider one's credit score. We designed it this way knowing that some residents have less access to financing and may also face energy poverty, so they can qualify if they own their own home and keep their bills up to date. This is a fair and equitable loan program. To ensure that there's no risk to the city in the event of a loan default, we added a bylaw that puts the same default measures that are in place for the electric bill, which could result in discontinued service, and any outstanding balance could be collected through property tax. Prior to implementing the program, the research showed that default risk on energy loans were very low, likely due to the money being saved when energy efficiency upgrades are completed. And to date, there hasn't been any issues. We also set up a partnership with the local credit union in the region to offer low interest loans to all program participants. And although financing is an option, it's not necessarily always used with every participant that signs up. Because we've been running the program for so many years, we've had many lessons learned and have a number of recommendations for building a successful program. One of the first lessons we learned was very early on in implementing the program. It was important to prepare the community prior to the public launch. To ignite interest in the upcoming program, I met with realtors, hardware stores, contractors, and community groups such as Rotary. Residents often rely on information from someone they trust, such as like their realtor, for example. So arming those in the community with the details of the program was an important step. When the program launched and residents asked their trusted source about the program, they instantly had credibility. And if we didn't do this step, many stakeholders that were asked by residents could have said, "I'm not sure what the city's doing," leaving the resident not sure whether or not to participate. But instead, they were so successful at building a buzz in the upcoming program that close to 100 people were on the waiting list before it was even launched, and 50 participants signed up within the first week. The hardware store was even telling people to wait on their insulation purchases to see how the program might help. I suggest reaching out to key community stakeholders to share some program details prior to launching, especially contractors who perform energy upgrades. It is a good idea to build relationships with the contractor community and others because they can help you with program uptake, and the contractor may refer participants, and it also helps them to know and be aware of what rebates are available and what types of equipment qualify. There's a lot of information that the homeowner needs to know, understand, and action. We know from experience that sending out written content is not necessarily the best way to ensure deadlines are met and eligibility requirements are understood. It really does take a follow-up call or an email to prompt or offer additional support. Although some participants are good about reaching out to ask questions, we learned that if you don't follow up with calls or emails, that some may miss deadlines, not save receipts, and may not install eligible measures. We do spend a lot of time helping people understand the requirements for accessing rebates, so make sure you account for this time as it can add up. And through the years, we've built strong relationship with those entities that administer the rebates. This is also very valuable, and because of this, we're able to advocate for our residents. Say if we come across criteria that just needs a little bit of adjusting or exceptions that need to be requested when a participant just narrowly misses out on qualifying for a rebate. Consider having sufficient resources to provide the support that residents will require to successfully complete energy upgrades. This is a complex process with continuous changes to programs such as rebates and financing. Our program started out with 1 full-time position and now has equivalent of 2.5 positions. However, this has varied depending on the ability to conduct community outreach, such as in-person events. And we will need to increase our support to achieve our climate goals. To be as efficient with staff resources as you can, I recommend using a software that can facilitate the tracking and recording of participant data, and one that can automate replies and prompts at various stages throughout the process. The more automated the process can be, the more time staff will have to work with residents who need support. This is something we'll be adding to our program. When it comes to the EnerGuide evaluation, I recommend that you have sufficient capacity and availability of the energy advisors in your location. You'll need to determine what's best for your organization when it comes to the delivery of EnerGuide evaluations, or whether or not you're going to leave this step up to the resident to find one on their own. As part of our full service program, we contract a service organization to offer all of our EnerGuide evaluations. This gives us the oversight and the visibility into when evaluations are being scheduled, and it helps us to ensure that the program quality is maintained. We can also customize the EnerGuide reports to align with our program goals. For example, one of the features we have the energy advisor do is to include adding up all of the air leaks that they find through the blower door test and providing the dimensions of how big of a hole would be open to the outside at all times. Helping the homeowner visualize this can motivate them into completing the recommended upgrades. Another consideration would be to offer a subsidy towards the evaluation. It's something that we've done from time to time to make it less expensive. This has depended on whether or not there's already a rebate in place. It's also interesting to note that participation does coincide with rebate programs. Over the last 10 years, we've seen rebates come and go, and when the amounts of the rebates were higher and there were more of them, program uptake was also higher. There were a couple of years after the pilot phase which some rebate programs did end, and we noticed some of our participation decrease. So now that there are rebates available through the province, through the gas and electric utilities, and the federal government, we're seeing an increase in uptake again. When it comes to marketing, it is important to have a solid program foundation in place and then roll out a marketing campaign, not the other way around. For example, we've been in the midst of scaling up our program so that we can increase participation, but before we do a robust marketing campaign, we need to implement software that will enable us to be more efficient with staff time. Lastly, develop a simple and seamless process. For example, once a resident is registered with the program, they are moved through the next steps and kept on track. I've learned that simplicity is key, and making language on various content suitable to a wide audience, and that if you do not follow up with participants along the way, they may lose motivation. The experience and knowledge that this program has provided us has been valuable in helping other communities develop programs, and that interest is growing as energy retrofits continue to gain momentum. So what has our program achieved? Prior to the expansion in 2019, over 800 people had registered, and since then we have registered an additional 750 residents region-wide, which is over 1,500 in total. The pandemic has caused us to pause the in-home evaluations for almost 6 months during 2020. The program has proved to be tremendously valuable for residents in our community who've been able to save money on their energy bills, and often we hear how valuable the support was in helping them through the process to succeed. Many stating they wouldn't have completed the program without this help. Analysis of the data from time to time shows that participants save an average energy reduction of 35%. Most of the upgrades were heating, followed by insulation and windows. Participants do air sealing, door and hot water heating upgrades as well, and some do it all, which is referred to as a deep energy retrofit. In order to meet our climate targets, we will need more residents doing deep energy retrofits. So what does the future of our program look like? We need to scale up in order to meet our regional climate goals. We're in the process of applying for the FCM's Community Efficiency Financing Program. We plan to enhance the program by offering additional incentives to switch fuels away from natural gas, propane, and heating oil. We're also looking at adding a heating specialist to our team. This will provide a deeper level of assistance to homeowners who struggle to navigate between the various heating options and how to consider the return on investment, carbon footprint, and correct sizing of heating equipment for maximum energy and greenhouse gas reductions. Although we don't offer incentives for new homes, our program will support residents by providing information on building more energy efficient homes, and through recently conducted research on the embodied carbon in building materials, we've created a materials guide to promote low carbon options for new homes and existing homes. In addition, we're planning on enhancing the financing by extending the amortization terms, increasing loan amounts, and lowering interest to support deeper energy retrofits. This will make the loans even more accessible to those facing financial barriers. And as I mentioned earlier, we're looking to add software to manage the program more efficiently, and we will roll out a robust marketing campaign, starting with a new strategy, followed by consistent and frequent messaging and events. It is also important that we continue to explore the best way to support all residents, especially those who face energy poverty and live in the rural areas. We're excited for our future program and encourage other communities to pursue similar programs, and we are happy to share our experience.